how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7, back again with another view from the van. I hope everybody's okay and you're all refreshed, recharged, re-energized and ready to go for another season of Premier League action. Can't wait, looking forward to this one. Probably the most since I was back at school, back in 92, 97, when I was back in secondary school. So this is probably the most anticipation that I felt for a season. You're not going into a campaign with fucking in deep pockets and short arms Mike Ashley in fucking charge. You're not going in with Cabbage Heed in charge or Joe Kinnear in fucking charge or something daft like that. We're going in with a management team in Eddie Howe and his coaches that are 100% rate back. I think they're absolutely fantastic. Top draw, and then you've got owners who have done all the right things. They've ticked all the right boxes. They've made the right decisions. They're making sensible decisions. They're trying for the best for Newcastle, and they have been great custodians to this point, and long may that continue. And of course, long it will continue. So lots and lots of positives. The feel-good factor around the club, queues at the club shop, queues at the box office for tickets and season tickets and everything. Friendly games with huge attendances for, great signings being made. Work on the stadium, work on the training ground. Everywhere you look, every aspect of day-to-day life at Newcastle United, when you look at it, is so much better and totally unrecognisable to where we were even just a short 12 months ago. The players look fit. I mean, you've only got to look at John Joe Shelby. I know he's currently injured and everything, but he looks absolutely ripped. He looks in the zone. Players are speaking confidently. Jamal Lascelles coming out saying that he's a better person, a better captain than what he was 12 months ago. That's from players who aren't even guaranteed first team starters. And they are speaking in these terms and in such glowing ways of how the football club is working and operating. It is fantastic to see, and just the warmth and the buzz and the anticipation and the excitement, stemming from all of that. I just can't wait. I can't wait to be back at St James's Park this weekend. It has felt like a long time, but Nottingham Forest, the visitors, of course, and that's what we're talking about today. First time they've been in the Premier League for 23 years, and fuck me, are they spunking money everywhere, left, right and fucking centre. And that's before they get onto their latest signing, which is, if you had seen the social media for us yesterday, I was trying to keep a straight face about it, but at least he isn't a fucking goalkeeper, because they wouldn't keep many clean sheets. That one was for Rob, who provided that one, but cheers Rob. And yes, looking forward to tomorrow's game, try and get the sensible face back on. It is going to be a difficult task against Nottingham Forest, but it's a game that we're going into where I am optimistic about the results. Obviously last season it was fucking halfway through the campaign before we got a bastard victory, so it's important that we start positively at home, and I still think that Newcastle will get the business done. There should be a couple of goals in this game for us tomorrow. The defence is an interesting question. I think we should be looking at keeping a clean sheet in this game against Forest tomorrow. It's not going to be easy. There's players with points to prove. They've signed and they've splashed plenty of cash. 12 or 13 signings they've made over the course of the close season, including the likes of Jesse Lingard. And now Jesse was a player that Newcastle allegedly, along with West Ham, were really interested in. But when you're looking at the figures that he was after, and this is all obviously reported in the press and stuff like that, over £200,000 a week, there was no way that Newcastle were going to pay that sort of money for Jesse Lingard. And so that would rule us out, straight away. Basically, we still have a wage structure in place at the club. As we try to do things the right way. For Nottingham Forest, it's all just about survival. It's all about that fourth bottom, so they're willing obviously to invest whatever it takes to be able to try and stay in the Premier League and build from there. where Newcastle it's not so much sort of panic stations, if you will. But they've made some really good signings. They've got some really good players. They've also got Jack COLBACK, who returns in the Jack COLBACK derby, all fun aside and stuff like that. He'll be eager to return and put in a good performance. You've got Dean Henderson, who was also linked to a move to Newcastle United, also in their ranks after failing to get the #1 position at Manchester United. So again, you talk about players with points to prove. You're talking about players who have got maybe one eye on the World Cup this winter over in Qatar. So yeah, there's going to be no room for sentiment. There's going to be no taking the foot off the pedal. The Nottingham Forest fans are going to be absolutely over the moon. They're going to be hyped up. They're going to be noisy, loud, passionate on their return to the Premier League after a ridiculous 23-year absence, it must be said. So we've got to take all that into account. We've got to get our approach right and play the football that we've been looking to play over the pre-season. Gone are the dinosaur days where the ball was just hit long and Steve Bruce continuously said that the players weren't good enough, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, they couldn't pass, they couldn't retain possession. Eddie Howe shown over the summer the progression and the evolution of this team. We've seen a much more possession-based game, knocking the ball about, trying to create chances, trying to dominate the position, trying to dominate the football. So that's pleasing to see, and he spoke today in his press conference about that improving as the season goes along, and that the more that we can play, the better football that we can play, the more that we can progress up the Premier League table. Of course he won't set targets, but I think everybody in his dog knows that I think Newcastle are looking to try and at least get into that top 10 and get better with the brand of football. Better brand of football ultimately is going to lead to better things for us in the future. It's not going to be something that is achieved overnight. It's going to be over the course of a couple of seasons that we progressively, season upon season, hopefully try and pinch a position or two every single time. And look, we were a few points off getting into the top half last season, despite the disastrous start. So that's got to be the first sort of aim: get into the top 10 and then reassess as the season goes along. Are we doing well in one of the cups? That would be fantastic. But in the league, I think we just got to look and assess it so long and so deep into the season. But definitely top 10. Who knows? One or two more good signings, luck goes your way, injuries go your way, and you never know, you might be able to sort of get into 8th or 7th or 6th. You just never ever know. There are competitors to the crown, namely the likes of West Ham and Aston Villa and the likes. You've got to think are also looking to have a similar sort of season to what we are. But I think one of the main things for me is just going to the game and not worrying about what's over your shoulder, the relegation threat. That would be nice, not to have to make the 200-mile round trip that I do for home games, sitting there thinking this could be make or break for us staying up. It's going to be far better to look up and think, well, if we could do this, could we break into the top 9 or top 8 or whatever. That is a much better mindset and a much better place to be than where we've been at recently, the recent times. And I think going through those difficult times over the previous 14 years, the majority of it absolutely fucking dog shit, it makes these times now even feel just that little bit better, that little bit sweeter, if you will. You appreciate it more from what we've been through. And certainly we've got to continue that team spirit that we had last season, that togetherness, that united front, everybody rowing in the same direction, because I do think that positive energy will push the lads that little bit further, and who knows what we can achieve. We've already said we're targeting the cups this season. We're taking them ultra seriously. So these are much better things to hear. And even today, when Eddie Howe's been speaking about preparation, transfers, budgets and stuff like that, everything still feels positive. Even on the sort of wage, we've got a wage structure. We can't just go out and sign players left, right, and centre and play a football manager brand of stuff like what Chelsea are doing. We can't do that. It's impossible at the moment to be able to do that and do the investment and to do the spending and to do everything all at once. It is just going to take time. It is part of a long-term project. And if you go back to that Staveley interview that she did when she first took over, it all still holds 100% true to what she said when she made that first interview with Sky and stuff like that, about slow build, patient investors, putting the building blocks in place. And that, again, they've done tremendously well over the course of the summer. As for this game, like I say, I expect us to win. I'm going sort of maybe 2-1, 3-1, something like that. We'll say 2-1, and hopefully the likes of Callum Wilson gets an early goal, and he'll keep his ratios going from last season. It's important that we get him more chances created, because with his strike rate, his conversion rate, the more chances that we can get, the better. And that's why I think that Fraser may be involved tomorrow as opposed to Miggy, because just of their chemistry and their history of working together and knowing each other that little bit better. Got a sneaking suspicion that Miggy may be on the bench for this game, and I also think that he's going to bring in Fraser for his little bit more defensive work, his tenacity, his doggedness, because these will be workmanlike all over the place. If you saw them last season, they will put the shift in, they will graft for their manager, there's no doubt about that. So I see no reason why that's going to change going into this season in the Premier League. So the team that I think you'll go for, I would like to see Dubravka still in. I don't think he's going to be, because I think there's a potential move for him, to be honest, before the window finishes, but we'll get to that on another video. Nick Pope in goal. I think he'll go for Trippier, and I think he'll go for Target. They're two obvious, easy ones for me to be able to pick. The central defence, you've got Sven Botman there, who's spoken about in glowing terms and how he's going to be such a great player for Newcastle. But I hark back to previous campaign when we brought in Bruno. We didn't throw him in straight away. There was that period of integration, and he may do the same again. Burn and Share haven't let him down, so will he go for them too? Perhaps he will, and not risk him straight away and bring him in bit by bit, slowly, maybe a substitute appearance, I don't know. So I have tossed and turned over whether it's going to be Share and Botman or Share and Burn, and I think now realistically it could well be Share and Burn. I think that might be the best combination for the game going into this one. Going forward then, Bruno, Joe Linton, that's obvious. They again talk about easy picks, them two, just one of the first names on the team sheet, either of them two. With John Joe Shelby being out, he's down in London getting some more opinions on his injury. Unfortunately he's injured. That's a bit good, to be honest. It's then who would you put in that third position in the midfield, and I think he's going to go for Willock. It's going to be either him or Sean Longstaff, but I just think you get more with Joe Willock. I think he can offer you more. He's a goal threat. We all saw what he did during his loan spell, during his initial run at Newcastle. He's looked good, so I would go for Joe Willock. I think he will go for Joe Willock. And then either side you've got Alan St-Maximin. Yes, Kyle. Alan St-Maximin one side. I think Ryan Fraser nips it on the other side, although I think Miggy will be hard done by after a fantastic pre-season. I love Miggy to bits, but I think he would go for Fraser for the reasons I said before. And then of course Callum Wilson up top. We're going to have quite a strong bench. There are rumours that Emil Kraft won't make it. He's got a slight thigh problem, maybe a strain or something that he's got at the moment, so he won't be risked. One player who definitely will be on the bench and who could have been in contention instead of Joe Willock in midfield is Elliot Anderson. He will get game time, there's no doubt about it. Eddie Howe spoke about him today, that unless something changes materially within the setup of the squad, he will go into the pool of players that he's got to pick from. So exciting times, happy for the lad, delighted for the lad, local lad coming in, world at his feet, going to continue with his same attitude, and everything else, and he can be an absolute top draw player for us. There's no doubt about it. Miggy will get minutes off the bench again, I've no doubt about that also. And the rest of the squad is pretty much fit and available. Fernandez, which is getting quite the habit with Fernandez, is injured, not available. Jamal Lewis, of course, isn't available, and I think his time, I think he may be one who goes out on a temporary loan, to be honest, because he needs game time and he's not getting it in Newcastle and he's not staying fit. So let's get him out there, and he can have that opportunity somewhere to be able to show that he can stay fit, he can contribute, and he can be a player for Newcastle's future. But at the moment, he's still not fit and available, so that's disappointing. But Javier Manquillo is back in Newcastle. He's been back in training, so that is a positive. Again, is he going to be still a Newcastle player at the end of this month? I honestly don't know. You've only got 25 places in, 25 positions in this squad to be able to fill up, and do you use one of them up on Javier Manquillo? I'm just not so certain. But look, for the time being, he's a Newcastle United player, he's registered, so yeah, he's there or thereabouts, a place on the bench at very best to for tomorrow's game. But the future, there's definitely a question mark hanging over Javier Manquillo, especially you've got the likes of Bondswell, who's had interest from Forest Green over the past week or so, but Eddie Howe is contemplating keeping him. Again, he doesn't have to be included in the 25, but he's an option, a different option, and he's maybe somebody that they're looking to for the future. So trying to get in, and trying to integrate, and so Eddie Howe can keep an eye on him. So that will be another one. Bondswell, will he stay? Will he go? Will he go out for a loan? Won't be sold, but it could be beneficial, I think, for him to head out on loan and to get that Football League experience. And I think that'll be the situation with Elliot Anderson, going back to him, that if he isn't getting the game time come January, then he may be loaned out to be given that continued progression. But I think with Elliot Anderson, it's a different kettle of fish. I think he will get plenty of game time. Bondswell, he might get the odd appearances here and there. 5 substitutes, of course, can be used this season. They've changed the rules yet again, probably because Jurgen Klopp whinged or whined or bitched about something. But yeah, extra substitutes named on the bench. Extra substitutes can be used this season as well. So perhaps the safer thing to do is to keep a few more back at St James's for those different options, and to cover all the all eventualities and all possibilities. But really excited for the game. Can't wait for it to start. I definitely think we've got a couple of goals in us. We've got quite an enthusiasm for their return to the big time down a little bit, but I'm sure that we can do that, and and get the point and have a positive start to the season. Continue the positive feel-good factor at Newcastle United. Always a good thing. And then it just takes that pressure off, doesn't it, that we're not going to do what we've done previously. But fingers crossed, some more news on some recruitment will be released really shortly. Still talking about the possibility, they're not walked away from the James Maddison deal, so that suggests that maybe there is a little bit more legs into it. Unfortunately, Cornet from Burnley, he's going to West Ham for 17.5 million. Weren't we interested in him? If we weren't interested in him, why not, given where we're looking to sign players for? But look, Eddie Howe has spoken today. We're still out there, we're still working really hard, and he was keen to stress everybody behind the scenes is putting the graft in to be able to make the transfers, to be able to get the squad to where it's at or where it needs to be in order to progress. But the squad is still looking good. Second half of the season, we were one of the form teams in the league. You've got to remember that. Yes, we had an awful start to the beginning, but with all the problems and Cabbageed and a takeover, injuries and so on and so forth, our second half form of the season was unfucking believable and unmatched anywhere else apart from the very top couple of of clubs pushing at the very top of the league. Apart from that, we were up there. We were smashing it. So again, there's lots to be encouraged about. There's lots to be excited about. There's lots of questions. Will Botman start? Will he not? Will he be on the bench? Will he be so slowly integrated? Who's going to play in the attacking positions? At least until we get extra bodies, over the line. What is the score going to be? Let me know down below. Take care. Keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.